Sports are one of the few aspects of the world that bring people together all over the planet. Cheering for your favorite soccer team, watching the Olympics, or playing a game of basketball during school, that is sports in a nutshell. But behind all the fanfare, there's a big problem, one that concerns us all. Girls and women aren't yet enjoying equal opportunity or equal status with men. Women players have sweat as hard and fought as hard for many decades, yet they still earn less money, receive less publicity, and have fewer opportunities to be leaders. This is not a business presentation, this is an issue of equality and respect towards all athletes. There are various studies, such as one in gender and management, that show women remain underrepresented with the leadership ranks of European national sports federations. It is similarly true in America and other countries. Equal chance in sports is not necessarily competition, it's giving an equal field to play where everyone has a chance to succeed. Sports ought to reward effort and talent, not bias or traditional concept of gender status. The BMC Public Health article states sports require equality by gender because it gives equity, equal opportunity, economic growth, and social and cultural advancements for everyone. Women have been fighting for sports equality since the late 1800s to the present 2000s, from professional playing to equal pay and attendance. There have been great advancements made, but enormous gaps still remain. For example, Esteban Salvador discovered there are only 8 present of European national sports federations with women in leading positions. Men have control over the running of sports, and that does make a difference to funding strategies, publicity, and for women's access to opportunity. One of the oldest myths about women's sports is that they're not quite as popular or not as profitable as men's sports. But that myth overlooks the fact that women's sports has historically been underpromoted and underfunded. When eventually women's teams are given the same promotion and coverage, they do attract huge audiences. Like when the 2023 Women's World Cup shattered television records globally, leading to more than 750 million viewers, this generated $570 million. In fact, women's sports inequality is not due to their performances or drive, it is systematic. It's not about numbers, it's not about humanity. Envision a young girl who dreams to be a professional athlete and seeing her heroes making less than men, or seeing them rarely on the news. That sends a painful message that she and her work ethics and dreams are not as valuable. Sports equality is not competition, it's all children hearing that their work ethic and natural ability are equal. Sports inequality has definite impacts on sports participants, sport spectators, and society as a whole. It is, however, only one way. The solution is to create equal and equitable opportunities to invest in women's sports as an economic driver and to leverage sport as a means of effecting additional social change. They all function to create a more inclusive, more successful, and more inspiring sport for everybody. The following section will address how economics, social influence, and justice all have a role to play to produce equality in sports. Equity is the foundation of sports. A level of opportunity should be given to all players in order to play and flourish regardless of sex. Equal opportunity is given equal access to male and female players in finance, coaches, and classes of competition. Others argue that men's sports should be paid or broadcasted more because of physiological difference or market value. It is a proposition that closes its eyes to facts. Men and women are equally able when they have equal funding. Women's soccer teams who won numerous World Cups and Olympic gold medals to be compensated less than the men's teams for decades. Actual sports equity is paying and marketing on effort and achievement, not just sex. It is not every individual's belief that sport gender equality is the right thing to do. By and large, it is a business smart thing to do. Investment in women's sport on an equal bias can potentially grow the market for a sport as a whole. More supporters, more sponsors, and more merchandise sold means more money for everyone. Women's sports, given the same boost, it expands the audience at a very high rate. For instance, the 2023 NCAA women's basketball tournament was a record breaker, and as competitive as some of the men's games, everybody's aware that women's sports sell. People are interested in watching. People complain about women's sports not making enough money, but more than likely is that they don't get the same ad budget or prime time. Especially equal investment would simply do that build new jobs. They'd also make new brands and markets along the way. Gender equality is not merely a social problem, it's an economic opportunity waiting to be built. Social and cultural influence sports have been defining what people think about teamwork, success, and respect for centuries. Equality for women in sport can change society's perception of women, not athletes alone, but leaders and role models. Esteban Salvador found that where there's a women's sports organization with a female leader, these organizations implement more equal policies and offer advancement opportunities for women, according to their study. Others will argue that sports cannot be faulted for starting social change. However, sports affect what people perceive they are seeing in the world. As people cheer behind a women's team or look at feminine coaches heading top class programs, it beats stereotypes and encourages other women to do the same. Enabling gender equity in sports can build a culture of respectfulness and equality on and off the pitch. The strongest point that gender equality in sports is not suitable is the fact that men's sports deserve a larger budget because they are watched by more people and bring about more revenues. There are some who have said that there are differences in the male and female biology, and hence it cannot be equated to how well men and women can play. These are smart arguments on paper, but only address the problems. As Esteban Salvador described, the very fact that women's sports does not get reported so much is that they have traditionally been unadvertised. When the women are advertised and reported at the same level as the men, the audiences fares well. It is only fair not to discriminate against sportspersons based on physical attributes when sport is a matter of capability, practice, and commitment. Common sense demands that all sportspersons be treated equally. Sex equality does not weaken standards, it cuts them fine in a scenario where everyone gets a chance to compete on a level playing field. Gender equality in sports is not a dream but can become a reality. Equal opportunity and equal chances given to any sports person will help them win economic investment and also gives a bigger market for sports and utilization of sports for the promotion of equality changes the perspective of societies regarding gender. These are recipes for a healthy sports person future everywhere. For that, sporting bodies should first provide equal pay and facilities to female and male players. Sports women's on the same level with media reporting and sponsorship invite women to join decision-making forums to make fair decisions at all levels and promote respecting fairness on and off the pitch in society. Sports have the power to bring out the best in each and every one of us: hard work, teamwork, respect, and understanding. They show us lessons of pushing ourselves to the limit, celebrating our differences by coming together as one in a common cause. And yet, even today, women face barriers in support to equal opportunity, visibility, and rewards. These barriers are not just physical, they are also cultural and systemic, deeply ingrained in the way we view and value female athletes. If we truly believe in the spirit of the sport, then we must commit to breaking down these walls. Each should get the same opportunities in training and securing resources, sponsorships, and recognition regardless of the gender. True equality in sport is not a privilege to be conferred, it is a promise that we must keep. Now it's time to act, support women's leagues, watch their games, demand equal coverage, equal pay, and equal respect. Speak out against unfairness when you see it, and celebrate every step towards inclusion. We can create a sport where every competitor is seen, heard, and valued, not because of their gender, but for their talent, passion, and hard work.